to be delivered to the victor.
All right, here we go. Bring it on, come on.
We are underway. First round of this fight brought to you by High Mob Watches, the exclusive watch provider of the UFC. Please visit highmobwatches.com. Southpaw stance for Matt Hughes.
Well, the big question in this fight is how does Matt Hughes deal with the speed and athleticism of George St. Pierre? And when you saw he went immediately for that ankle, it looks like to take him down.
Hughes leading with the right.
Well, you know what? Matt Hughes is a wrestler, and he might be more comfortable taking people down with his right leg forward.
Excellent point. And that's what he wants to do, undoubtedly. He wants to take George St. Pierre down.
The problem is, to get close enough to take him down, he's got to get in the danger zone. And again, he reaches.
He's got to set that up. We just talked about the ever-improving wrestling of George St. Pierre. So that would include takedown defense as well.
Well, one of the reasons why he's so good at wrestling is because he's so fast and explosive. I mean, you see how light he is on his feet as well. A lot of guys, when they fight in the octagon, they're good strikers, they make the mistake of being flat-footed. George is constantly moving, always on the balls of his feet, always moving around. And because of that, it's very, very difficult to grab a hold of him and take him down.
Joe, in preparing for this matchup and the many articles and things that I read.
Look at that, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's some serious takedown defense there. You're talking about an all-American wrestler like Matt Hughes who was deep in on that takedown, and George got out of it immediately.
It was amazing that since UFC 50, the first matchup of these two,
he takes Matt down.
St. Pierre has only been on his back for a minute in all his fights. He's the aggressor in the wrestling game.
Well, he really proved that in his last bout against Josh Koscheck.
He landed every takedown attempt against Josh Koscheck.
And again, that was the word out of the training camp, was that he was able to take these fighters down. Guys like Rashad Evans, who's also a great college wrestler, he was able to take him down at will, but they weren't able to take George down. That's huge.
Jiu-jitsu-wise, both have skills. In fact, Hughes has very underestimated submission attempt, or submission power.
Because of the fact that he's a wrestler, a lot of people have forgotten the fact that he's one of the most successful submission artists in MMA. The wins over Frank Trigg, the win over George St. Pierre, the win over Joe Diesel Riggs. He has submitted many, many fighters.
St. Pierre trying to utilize a little ground and pound.
George is past a half guard here.
Ground and pound, St. Pierre. Taking a page out of the game plan of Matt Hughes.
Matt back to full guard here. He's pressed up against the cage.
This is considered a title fight, Joe, so it is scheduled for five-minute rounds.
Matt's throwing his legs up, looking for a submission.
St. Pierre has been submitted just one time in his career. That, of course, was by Matt Hughes. And for Matt Hughes, who is in trouble now, he needs to survive this position up against the fence. In 48 fights, Hughes has been submitted just 3 times.
Two of them by one man, Dennis Hallman, the other by BJ Penn. Matt's doing a good job of controlling George's posture and eliminating too much damage.
They warned him about the strikes to the back of the head. Full mount St. Pierre.
And look at this slam that he's doing where he comes up, brings Matt with him, and then slams him down, trying to get Matt to release that body lock.
St. Pierre warned again. He's got to be careful where he hits Matt Hughes. Full mount, Matt continues to hold on with his great strength, trying to survive this first round. George has got to be careful now. He's been warned 3 times, Joe.
He's digging that elbow, and he's finally managed to break it loose. And Matt gets it back again.
10 seconds remains in round number 1.
Dominant round for George St. Pierre.
All about St. Pierre. He has the
He
belt.
rolls him over. He's got his back.
We're going to hear the horn, though.
He's got an arm. Dominant round for George St. Pierre.
And here we go, second round. Southpaw again. Funny when Jeremy Horn said, "You're all right," Matt said, "I know." But round 1 looked like a Matt Hughes fight against his many opponents in which he beat down. But it was George St. Pierre in top position. This our main event here at UFC 79.
Again,
Another
George
takedown.
takes him down.
And quickly into the half guard.
This does not bode well for Matt Hughes. The fact that George is able to take him down so easily, and what happened in the first round when he did take him down.
Hughes trying to strike from the bottom. St. Pierre in the full guard of Matt Hughes.
Well, Matt's doing a good job of keeping him in that full guard. And
There's
lost
one.
it.
George St. Pierre taking this fight on 30 days notice. You talk about an early Christmas present. And many said, actually, George St. Pierre was the welterweight who saved Christmas and was more than willing to fight Matt Hughes tonight. Both men should be credited for taking this matchup when Matt Serra was forced to withdraw due to injury.
Elbow from the bottom by Hughes.
Watch your thumb, man.
St. Pierre wants that rematch against Serra. Hughes wants Serra as well. More of the same so far here in the beginning of round 2.
But Hughes is doing a good job of avoiding too much damage now. Because he's able to keep George in full guard here. Now George is trying the can opener by pulling back on Matt's head like that. What he's trying to do is get Matt to release his legs. By putting pressure on the neck, it gets a guy to open the guard up. So because George is looking for that, it makes me think George is looking to pass. The legs are open now.
Body head from St. Pierre.
Matt gets back to full guard.
Midway point of the round. St. Pierre now training in Albuquerque on frequent occasion with Greg Jackson. Continuing to work his ground game.
George has passed the side control. Matt is trying to control one of his wrists here.
Half guard now for Hughes.
Now this is a better position. This is what we call twister side control. If he can get out of this, the side there, he mounts him. He mounts him and he takes his back.
And this time he's got plenty of time, Joe.
With deep hooks.
Hughes is really tough to choke out, we know that.
He's completely dominating him on the ground. When Matt tried to turn over into his guard, George is having none of it. Stuffs him back up against the cage.
St. Pierre has said many times the best learning experience of his life was the loss to Matt Serra.
George's on his back again. Now Matt's up. Now Matt's got George's legs.
Let's see if he can take him down.
1 minute left. 1 minute left.
How many times have we seen Hughes not get the takedown in this position? Not many.
The only problem is he may be exhausted.
45 seconds remaining in the second round. Knees inside, another takedown by St. Pierre.
Takedown.
Right into side control. 30 seconds remains in the round.
Matt Hughes is really getting overwhelmed in this fight. George just stepped over for a triangle.
20 seconds.
He's got a Kimura on one side and a possible triangle on the other.
Trying to submit Hughes. Not quite yet. And it's all over.
Wow.
It is all over. George Rush St. Pierre defeats Matt